Hey guys, new U.S. jobs numbers dropped yesterday, showing a 600,000 drop in job openings over the month. That's 1.2 million fewer job openings in the past 2 months. Now, this combines with plunging consumer spending, mountains of unsold goods, cratering loans as banks teeter on the edge, and layoffs run wild. One survey said 74% of CEOs are implementing hiring freezes or layoffs. So, after a year of Wall Street navel-gazing about hypothetical recessions, the data is speaking. Actually, the data is screaming. This was never a surprise. Every school of economics, even the Keynesian cult of inflation, knows that hiking interest rates at Jerome Powell's reckless pace crashes an economy. It does this because it raises lending costs to companies, driving bankruptcies and feeding through to spending. So it's a good time to ask, what broke the economy anyway? Easy. The federal government took advantage of a crisis. Then it moved heaven and earth, it broke heaven and earth, to keep taking more. Uncle Sugar and his in-house money printers at the Fed sent inflation soaring with $7 trillion in deficit spending since COVID started, most of it obediently converted to inflation by the Fed. This money printing was on a truly epic scale. In just 2 years, they printed nearly $1 in $4 in existence. For those keeping score at home, that's twice the pace of the 1970s Great Inflation. You'd have to go back to World War II, maybe the Civil War, to get close. So, a fast $7 trillion later, and right on cue, inflation took off. It passed the 4% mark in April of 21 and ultimately hit almost 9%, actually closer to 11% if you count the intentionally deceptive way they count rent, and closer to 20% going by eyewitness accounts in actual grocery stores. The geniuses at Treasury and the Fed naturally dismissed the inflation as transitory, because their models pretend they have nothing to do with the inflation they cause. Instead, they blamed COVID, China, e-commerce, big grocery, exercise bikes, of course global warming, and Vladimir Putin. In early 22, the Fed finally got around to accepting not responsibility, but at least reality, at which point they had a choice: either fix the government spending or crush the private economy, crush jobs, to make room for government to keep spending. Of course, that would have meant a difficult conversation with Jerome Powell's political bosses, so he naturally opted to spare them and kick the people instead. You can actually find a clip from last Wednesday of a reporter asking Powell if federal spending is part of the problem, and Powell gets agitated like he just asked him to insult his wife, going, "We don't give advice, we take spending as it comes, we stick it in our models, along with a million other things," he said. Those million other things are you. So we come to the final piece of the inflation recession cycle. Jobs are breaking, spending is breaking, investment is breaking, and there's a long ways to go. We don't know how bad it will be. It depends how much the government stays out of the way. But we do know there are no free lunches. The bill is coming due, and it's going to be we the livestock, workers, families, small businesses, who pay it. All right, we'll be watching. See you next time.